Welcome back to the Rock Hall Debate, where we debate the 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. Today on episode 7, OUTKAST.
Quick disclaimer, as always, what you're hearing are not our personal opinions or what we believe. It's simply us stating a few facts and points of reference and letting you decide if you believe these artists should or should not be inducted into the Hall of Fame. We're just having a fun back and forth debate here. I am taking the pro side today on OUTKAST, as you can tell by the green box around me. So I will kick it off right now by saying OUTKAST redefined what hip-hop could be artistically, sonically, and culturally. They pushed hip-hop into bold, unexplored territories, blending funk, soul, rock, jazz, psychedelia, and southern flavor with dense poetic lyricism, which you should appreciate, Kev, because I know you're a big poet. A couple of their albums are genre-bending masterpieces that expanded on that definition of hip-hop and arguably rock and roll itself. Speakerboxxx, The Love Below, debuted at #1 and earned 6 Grammy nominations, winning Album of the Year, which at the time is a first for a rap group. So the first rap group to win Album of the Year, that's huge. Singles like Hey Ya and Miss Jackson are still known today, still played today, top charts globally, and remain cultural touchstones. Their catalog is dense and thick and still among one of the best of all time and ranked that way by Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, NPR. And much like the Black Crowes, they got that Southern music influence in them, though they went a different direction with it and put it more in the hip hop genre. They're still Southern rockers that had something to say and put Southern hip hop on the map. Before Atlanta was a musical capital, Andre 3000 and Big Boy were carving out a lane that didn't exist, proving that the South did have something to say. And their influence, like we like to talk about, definitely influenced artists like T.I., Killer Mike, Future, and J. Cole. So to me, OUTKAST definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, you said Rolling Stone said they should be in, so I guess this is all over if Rolling Stone said that.
Just giving you some reference to who is in their corner, who has said what about them.
Right. Well, saying Rolling Stone's in your corner doesn't score points.
Doesn't get you anywhere.
This gets tricky because I don't want to say that hip hop is not rock. I'm not going to give that argument. I feel like it's tired, it's played out. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is what it is. And we've had Run DMC, Beastie Boys in there. Run DMC did have Walk This Way. So they did cross over a little. Beastie Boys, obviously, whole albums are punk. Check Your Head is a rock album as much as one. OUTKAST, it's more funk and soul and hip hop. But I don't want to, if it just came down to the music, I would lean more towards it, especially the Speakerboxxx Love Below album. But there's the problem with the longevity. It's my same thing with the Black Crowes. By 2006, they were done. They didn't have multi-decade reinvention that we see from a lot of Rock Hall nominees. They were groundbreaking for hip-hop, no question. For the Rock Hall, it's a tougher argument to make.
I will say too, their unique style, just like we kind of talked about in an earlier episode with Cyndi Lauper, Andre's bold fashion sense, his themes, his delivery, it normalized kind of that eccentric vulnerability and artistic expression in rap. He kind of pushed that boundary forward and kind of showed what it could be or what you could do with it and how crazy and close to, if not over the line, you could get with some of that stuff. They took more risks. Go ahead.
You mentioned their influence on other, and you said all other hip hop artists. Can you say anything about their influence on rock music?
I don't know if you could get into rock. I mean, maybe in sort of like the funk, as you mentioned, sort of that funky sound of like maybe like a Bruno Mars type thing or something like that, where you could maybe see some of that influence because he's such a funk pioneer, like taking that sort of sound and turning it into things. So maybe you could see some of that influence in there. I will say though, like no two OUTKAST albums are the same. Each record is like a reinvention, which I think is really cool too. They never just sort of did the same rap or tried to do the same thing. They always tried to push that boundary and move forward. they took risks a lot of artists wouldn't touch. They do like live instruments on their stage, like spoken word interludes into full concept albums, like things like that. They really tried to like do different things and push those boundaries, which I think is a really influential and important thing when you're talking about what kind of impact did you have on music, not just rock music, but music in general.
I guess, man. I feel like I don't know. What were they? 94? When did Idlewild come out? 2006. I guess that was the last full album that they ever put out. They went and did I can't say they did a Black Crowes or Oasis, but for some reason they just decided, hey, we're gonna go our separate ways. And Big Boy ended up playing with Goose, and you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering that too, like about the split, because they seemed like, I mean, just the two of them together were so powerful and so good that it was such an interesting combination with those two together, and like their styles and their music and the way they rapped. I think that's what made them so unique too, is you kind of had these two different guys going at it with those things. And it's sad that they kind of split like that. And Andre 3000 kind of got into acting and doing his solo careers and things, and Big Boy's doing his thing.
But is it more, is OutKast more defined by their separate artistic identities rather than being a unified act?
You can make that argument, I think, but what's unique is when the two come together and form this sort of whatever you want to call what they made together. I think that's what's really special. And yeah, I think separately they have those, their own identities, and almost that, like, I don't want to put them in the stratosphere of Cher, but almost that Cher, like, we're this different.
Speakerbox Love Below, wasn't the whole thing Speakerbox was Big Boy's album and
Right.
Love Below was Andre's album kind of thing, or CDs? I think they were CDs at the time.
CD, yeah. And it's so unique, that sound that they did. And I mean, as far as uniqueness goes, and reinvention of sort of that rap genre, and taking, like we always talk about, well, what did they do with it? And I feel like what they did with it was change sort of the rap game for a bit. And I think that's what's really, to me, what's really unique and important. And one of those rock boxes that they definitely check was taking hip hop in a new direction, kind of taking this old thing and making something new out of it, and making a new sound out of it, and doing this thing. And, the lasting power, sure, it's not quite there, because, they're not, their music is still played a ton and you still recognize those songs, but they haven't really released anything new in a while. But what they did at that time was culturally significant and huge. And I think just from that, you can make the argument that they do deserve to get into the Hall of Fame.
And there we have it. Let us know what you think down in the comments, whether you are pro or con. We'll be back next Thursday with episode 8. It's going to be Mariah Carey. Our next 3 up next week are Mariah, Billy Idol, and the White Stripes. I do not have the pros and cons in front of me, but we'll figure that out. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Like we said, leave a comment, join the Discord. Check us out Wednesday nights, 9:30 for Live, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think below.